What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lean and Lionhearted podcast. I'm your host, AJ Quimson, IFBB Pro, and I'm here with a very special guest today, my wife, Mary. How are you doing, Mary?
My name isn't Mary, it's Babe.
How are you doing, babe?
I'm good. I'm just excited now that I'm off for the rest of the week.
You nervous to be on this podcast?
Yes. I'm not good in front of the camera.
Well, fun fact, Mary is a bigger influencer than I am.
No.
I'm not an influencer.
No.
Either way, I'm just a coach. But anyways, I thought it would be interesting to have my wife on this podcast because this episode is going to be the Christmas episode, and it's going to come out on Christmas Day, and Mary's birthday happens to be on Christmas Day, and that's why she is a Grinch about Christmas.
Well, so here's a piece of advice. It sucks being a holiday baby because you get one present usually from everybody, and that's everyone just combines it. But yeah.
So Mary hates the holiday kind of just because she always wants to do stuff on her birthday, but she can never do anything because nothing's ever open. And even if there is something open, most people are busy with their own families. So she has been very adamant to not have a child during this time so they don't have to suffer like she suffered.
I never wish it upon anybody.
All right, but basically, I wanted to have you on because we always have really deep philosophical talks in the car, and we always say like that would be a good podcast episode. So now it's gonna be your birthday. It's gonna be your birthday. This is the birthday episode, and we're gonna talk about stuff. Mary's a little nervous, so I'm trying to pick an easy topic. Well, first one will be very controversial. Would you still love me if I was a lamp?
Yes, I'll love you even though you're a worm too.
But Mary's pretty nervous. This is actually like our third or fourth take. So I'm going to start her off with something easy, and we're just going to tell you about how we met. So like a lot of people may have heard that we met in Vegas, but it is not the typical, well, I don't even want to say typical, but it's not the Vegas story that everybody thinks of. So we met in 2017. We were both competing in bodybuilding, and we were doing a national show. So we were both trying to earn our pro card that day. We met through a mutual friend, Dale, who was gathering everyone up to party and everything. And Mary followed me first, and then she decided that, she was sliding my DMs. And we would just talk about food for the 2 weeks leading up to the show. But it's interesting, like what was it like for you, like at that time? I don't think I've ever really asked you how it was for you. I know that I met you the month before or 2 months before in Sacramento for like a brief second. You had another boyfriend, and then you showed up to Vegas, and then we met. Like, what was it like for you between the time that I first saw you and the time that we met?
Well, I had just gotten out of a relationship leading up to going to Vegas. We had broken up 1 or 2 weeks, probably like 2 weeks prior. And when girls break up, mentally, they've already been checked out maybe 6 months ahead of time. So I felt like I was already like checked out, just focusing on myself, focusing on my prep. I was just trying to enjoy my time with my friends. And, I was prepping with Dale and our friend Drew. And, we're just kind of like having fun, spending time with friends, being single and, looking forward to having a good time in Vegas. And, the party after, competing to me has always just been something that I enjoyed doing for fun. It was never like let's get a pro card, let's win an overall, let's do this. Like, I always just wanted to have fun. Like, it's something that I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed dieting. I enjoyed being on stage and wearing sparkly suits. But yeah, I was just looking forward to competing and then enjoying my time in Vegas with my friends.
Oh, okay. So what when you're going to Vegas, were you like, oh, I'm gonna go find some dude, or were you like, I'm just here to have fun, whatever happens happens?
It's usually I'm just here to have fun, but since I was newly single, I was like, you know what? If a really cute guy kissed me, I'd kiss him back. I'm not here for a one night stand. That's not who I am. But if a cute guy kisses me, I'm all for it. I'm in Vegas and I'm single.
So basically, we did the show. We hung out for a little bit. I was like a complete zombie when I first saw her because I was so dead and hungry. Like the first time we saw each other was 2 days out of USA's, right? And I saw you at the gym. The funny story about that was that Dale and Drew, they texted me, they're like, hey, we'll take you to the gym because we have to work out too. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Instead of like me paying to Uber to the gym because I was like pretty broke at the time. Not that they knew that. But so I'm waiting for them and they couldn't check into their hotel. So I was timing my meals and I was like 4 hours behind where I was supposed to be because I was waiting for them for so long and I was starving. I was so irritated just because I was so hungry and I was just waiting for them for hours. And then we finally get to the gym. You were there. We were pretending like we were going to sign up for, a pass. And we were just like, yeah, we just moved to Vegas. They probably hear that all the time. And then we saw you and then you said hi and you had so much energy and I was just like, hey. And then I remember Dale almost passed out that time. And then I didn't really see you until the show day, but you competed the day before me and you didn't do so well. And so you were out at night celebrating the night before I was supposed to go on stage. And I had so much anxiety. I don't know if you could tell, but I had so much anxiety before the show. I mean, I was sleeping maybe 3 hours a night for like a few days in a row. And I was so nervous the night before. I only slept 2 hours. So I'm hungry. I'm starving. I'm talking to you. I don't know. I just like talking to you. So I was like, I'll just keep talking to her. And then you started sending me pictures of like some burger and a milkshake with a cookie on it. And I was like, fuck, dude.
Hey, man, but you played it off really well because I had no clue that you were anxious and like nervous. I thought we were just having a good time talking, and I was totally cool with that.
I was dying. So we were talking. I don't think I slept until 2 or 2:30, and I had to wake up at 4:30 because I had ordered McDonald's to get delivered to our hotel because Ariel gave me pancakes. And so I fell asleep at like 2:30. I finally fell asleep. I woke up at 4:30. I was like, dude, it's game day. Let's go. And then we met up on show day and everything. But that was a good day for me. I don't know. What did you do during the beginning part of that day?
Honestly, I don't really remember what we did. But I remembered I did come to the show, and I think I was just hanging out in the lobby, and at some point, I think Dale was like, AJ's going on stage. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's the guy that I saw the other day, and I was like texting. So I was like, I'll come watch. So I did see you go out and do your call outs and everything.
For prejudging?
Yeah, for prejudging.
Oh, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, I was there. But we left after that, and I don't remember if I was there for finals.
You were there for finals because you were on for finals.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all a blur.
Yeah. So your prejudging was on Friday, and then my prejudging was Saturday morning, and then everybody's finals was Saturday night. So we were all there hanging out, waiting. And I remember I was like super hungry again. I was like waiting for Ariel to look at me so that I could eat the burger that's been sitting in my hand for like 2 hours. And that was when we took our first picture together. Remember I took a selfie? Or
yeah.
You took a selfie. I don't know. One of us took a selfie. Yeah. And then it was a good day for me because I turned pro, which was awesome. It's on cloud 9. And then we all met at the club a couple hours later at Marquee. And I remember I was also newly single. So I was in a relationship and it was not working out. I remember there's one period where we fought every day for 2 months. Like every single day for 2 months. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. We haven't even been together a year. And then I convinced her to break up with me on my birthday. which is May 1st. So I kind of egged her on because I couldn't do it. I was a pussy. But anyways, I was newly single. So I'd been single for like 3 months, and I was like, you know what? I've been in a relationship almost like there wasn't more than 6 months that I was single from the time that I was 18 till the time that we met. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try and be single. And then, 3 months later, I met you that night. And so I was newly single. Mary's new single. And I remember I told Drew, I was like, hey, you want to go down to the dance floor and go like look for some girls? That's not something I'd ever done before. And he was like, yeah. And then I didn't move, or he didn't move. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just stay here. And then Max and Ashley, I think specifically Ashley, I think Ashley was like, oh, Mary wants a kiss from the new pro. And, they're my friends. So I was like, no, dude, like you guys are trying to get me caught up. I'm not doing that. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And then Nina's actually the one that said it again. She was like, no, yeah, she totally wants you to.
Yeah, Nina's my best friend.
Yeah. And I was on cloud nine. I was just going to do anything I wanted. Whatever. I didn't care. And when they told me that, I was like, whatever, screw it. I literally, the second that she said that, I said, okay. And I turned around and I just walked straight to Mary, and then I just kissed her and I didn't say anything. And then kind of the rest is history.
Yeah. And for the record, I kissed back.
Thank God. That would have been so embarrassing. Well, I didn't really want to do it because one, I'd never done anything like that before. But two, I was like, we're gonna be hanging out all weekend. I was like, this would be so awkward if like that doesn't work out.
Oh my gosh, the funny part was, we just made out that whole night, and then the next night we had a table at Encore Beach Club, the day club, and it was that weird, awkward moment that morning when we both woke up and we weren't sure where we were, I guess. Like, are we still like cool? Do we pretend that never happened? Like, are we kind of together all weekend? Like, so I think we kind of established that we were together all weekend, kind of.
Yeah, it was a weird thing for me. Like at the time, I don't want to say talking to them because I'd never met this girl, but like this girl slid in my DMs, and we had been talking leading up to the show, and then this other girl was like trying to get at me. I guess I don't know who she was, and there's just like all this stuff going on, and I didn't know it was gonna happen. I thought it might be awkward. I felt like you. I was like, I don't know what this is gonna be like. And I was the last one to the club because I had to go to the photo shoot at the other hotel for all the class winners, like the people that turned pro. And so I showed up, and I remember it was really awkward because I had my trophy and I had to like put it in a locker. And I was like, please don't break this. I remember I walked in, and some girl that I don't know wanted to hook up or something like that, and I didn't know her though, so I gave her like a side hug. And then you were in there too, and I was like, I wonder what this is gonna be. And then you just walked up to me and kissed me, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
So I guess we're coupled up for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I was like, all right. I mean, honestly, that's like more of my style. Like, obviously, I'm like more of a relationship person, so I was like, I don't know, I didn't want it to be weird. And I don't know, you were cool, you were fun. I like that it was easier to talk to you than the girl that I was texting previously, so like the one that I never met. And conversations with you were just more entertaining. I think we're more of the same vibe, like I like to joke around a lot, you like to joke around a lot. Like the worst thing to me is like when you're trying to see if like you and someone else could be something, and you're like really struggling to figure out what to talk about, because then you're like, if it's that hard right now, like how much harder is it going to be later on?
Yeah, or like just figuring out like topics to talk about, and then thinking if like they are, they understand your jokes, or like if they receive it well. Like what if what you say you think it's funny and they're like, that's offensive? Yeah.
So we hung out all day at Encore Beach Club, and then at one point I left where you guys were to go talk to Jake for a long time. Jake's our friend. And I remember Jared ran over to me and he was like, they all left. And I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta go. So you guys all left, and it was funny because like half of you left your purses in the cabana. I was like, so dumb. So then me and Jared, we went to go meet you guys up, and then we actually didn't have a hotel anymore because we were super cheap. We were like, all right, well, we'll wing it, I guess. And so Jared's my best friend. He flew in for my show, and so we were just like going around Vegas on our own that day. And so we ended up at your room because we literally had nowhere else to go unless we were going to buy another room for the night. And I was pretty broke at the time, so so we ended up at your room, and it was so awkward because I didn't want to be like, hey, can I come to your room? And I didn't want you to think that I was like trying to sleep with you or something like that. But I was like, I really have nowhere to go.
No, I mean, honestly, I was totally cool about it. I knew you weren't trying to do anything. It was more of like, can I just like put my stuff in your room and literally just sit there until we go out at night or something?
Yeah.
And I was fine with it. You never tried to like make a move other than when we were kissing at the club.
Yeah, it was really funny because Jared fell asleep on the floor. And I remember, I think I sat on the floor too because I didn't want to like be in your space if it was going to be weird. I was trying to be respectful, and you're like, you could sit on the bed, I guess. I was like, okay, that's cool.
That was funny.
Yeah, and then we hung out all night at the club again. So exhausting thinking about it. And then Jared and I had a flight at like 5:30 in the morning. So we literally went straight from the club back to your room, and then I just grabbed our bags, and then I left. But I remember, like, I wanted to see what was going to happen. So when we were there, before I said bye, I was going to see what happened. But then you were like, are you going to miss me? And I was like, oh.
I caught the feels.
Yeah. When you said, are you going to miss me? I was like, oh, I think she likes me. It's cool. And then you flew up to see my pro debut like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I did. And I think at that point, I had a mix of people. Half of the people were like, you shouldn't do it. This is the guy you just met. Like, what if it doesn't work out? And at the same time, I was just kind of like, but what if it does work out? But even if it doesn't work out, like, whatever. I can just laugh about it. Life's too short to just have fun. I was in my let's have fun phase, and, you know, I didn't think you were a serial killer. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fly up there and hang out. If it's awkward, it's weird, I'll just go home. Yeah. Like, it's not a big deal.
I mean, you would know about serial killers. One of the first things she ever told me was, I know everything about the top 10 serial killers of all time. I was like,
I love true crime. I love criminology.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? But I don't know. What made you even want to come up? Like, you know, we just met. So like, what made you want to, within 3 days, you booked a flight to come see me?
Well, originally, Dale and Drew said they were going to come too. And I think they ended up all bailing. And, you know, I was like, you know what? But I kind of want to go. Like, we were still talking. We were texting each other. And it was just, the conversation was there. Like, I looked forward to talking to you, like, every day. And I figured, like, let me just really spend one-on-one time with you, like try it out. And what's the worst that can happen, really? Like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like, I'm not crying over spilled milk kind of thing, you know? Yeah. So I decided to go. And, you know, it's funny because before this, everyone was like, Mary, you said you were going to focus on yourself. You're going to stay single for a year. And here you are flying to see a guy. And I was like, you know, I'm still single. I'm just flying to go see him. And this might not even be a relationship, and that's okay.
Yeah, I remember you were getting a lot of flack for talking to me and being in a relationship because everyone knew about you. I didn't know who you were before we met, but you were, you know, all famous and stuff at the time.
It's just like being freshly out of a relationship. Like, people really thought that like I cheated on my ex for you, but in real time the timeline was just not very good. I had broken up with him 2 weeks before we left for Vegas, but he still was in the process of moving out of my house while I was in Vegas. But I told him to continue to finish moving everything once I'm back, just because it's my house. I didn't want him in and out. So by the time that word got around that, you know, me and you were caught making out at the club, he was just like, what the heck? And I was like, you need to get yourself out.
Yeah, that was awkward because I was on FaceTime when said person came back to your place.
Yeah, but I mean, no hard feelings. I think it's just like a misunderstanding, and I 100% think the timeline was not the best. But when is there really a good time for anything?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I was always just, I mean, I did think it was pretty interesting that you were willing to fly up to see me. I didn't know anybody that did that kind of stuff either. So it's not like I was going to do that. I mean, the worst that could happen is I pick you up and I don't have AC in my car, which I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. And then not only that, but you got in a car accident another time in middle of summer, no AC.
You get her. So annoying. Yeah, that part's irrelevant though. But yeah, so you flew up to see me. I think I asked you out over the phone. I mean, like, what other option did I really have? I didn't know when I was going to see you again. So I think I asked you out on FaceTime or something like that. It's so lame. I was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I was such a little pussy about it. And then you said yes, and then we were dating like not even 3 weeks after we met. And then
3 weeks, yeah.
yeah. And then yeah, because it's August 18th. We met on the 29th of July. So like, yeah, 3 weeks. And then I drove down to see you another time. And basically we spent a year and a half doing long distance, right?
Yes.
Year and a half. But we still saw each other at least every 3 weeks, if not every other week, which was pretty funny because it's a lot of flying.
There is a lot of flying. That's when I started to rack up so many miles, and I got my travel credit card, and I was like, I'm going places.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So how was long distance for you on your end?
It was hard. It was hard, but I'd do it again if it meant having the foundation that we have today. It taught us so much. It taught us to be patient. It taught us to communicate. But it was hard. It was hard because, like, I think as time passed, you know, the phrase, the quote, the saying that goes like, you know, I love you more each and every day. It's true. Each and every day I kept loving you more. And it became harder to leave because every time I was leaving, it was just like my heart was just breaking. You know, thinking back, like I cried so many times when I had to leave because like my heart grew so much for you.
Yeah. It was, I think I was probably like 65-35 split. Like you came to me way more, but that's because I was also in college still. It's like took me like 8 years to graduate, but yeah, you were coming out to see me a lot. But I think that it was probably one of the more, I think it was just a perfect storm for you and me in particular. Like before you, I was very insecure and I was not a good communicator and, you know, all these other things. And I remember when we first started dating, there was like these times where it would flash in front of my face. Like normally I would say something or I'd be insecure or this or that. And I think I had matured a little bit by that time, but also you gave me a lot of security that I felt like I needed. So I didn't have to be insecure. And the fact that we were long distance meant I knew that I had to be secure. I had to force myself to, because if I was insecure, I'd drive myself crazy. You know what I mean? Because we're never going to see each other. Like not ever, but like we don't see each other very often. So I can't be insecure for 3 weeks at a time and then have one good weekend and then, you know, another 3 weeks. So I had to like force myself to be secure in our relationship, but you also helped me, you know, not have to worry about anything. And the long distance part really forced us to communicate, which was something I was terrible at before. But it was like, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone that's close, you just see each other all the time. You don't have to really communicate. You could just hang out together, you know, and there's no real foundation of communication. But because we were long distance, that's all we had, you know, FaceTime and text.
Yeah. And if, you know, if you're mad or you're feeling a type of way, you can't expect him to, I can't expect him to just like sense that I'm angry. You know, I have to tell him that, hey, I'm upset. how are you going to see if I'm upset if, I'm not telling you? It's not like you're here in person to see me give you the silent treatment. you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I think it was super rare. I kept waiting for the ball to drop, like for things to get bad, because it's like, dude, everything is way too easy. It's too simple. We get along really well. We never fight. Like, I could still count on maybe 3 hands, probably 2 hands still.
Still
like
2 hands.
Yeah, still 2 hands. The number of times that we've like fought like really angrily, and yeah, it's like uncommon for me. So it was like I just kept waiting for it to go bad, and so I was kind of nervous because there's kind of like that saying where like something that starts off really fast like ends just as fast, and I didn't want it to end because I was like, I really like her. And I think I told you I love you in like like a month maybe.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say it, but
well, I think looking back at it, you were always very communicative. I don't even know if that's a word. You communicated very well with it. Like, you've always told me, like, I felt like I'm still waiting for the ball to drop. I feel like sometimes it's too good to be true. Like, is it weird that we're getting along so fast and our feelings are progressing so quickly? We've always been like continuously communicating that to each other, even leading up to the I love the L bombs for 1 month in. And even then, when we both said it, we're like, is this too fast? Does that sound too scary? Are you okay with that? Like, we always felt like we were talking to each other and like reassuring each other.
Yeah, I don't even know how we started doing that. We just kind of naturally did it because we didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
Was there, I don't know, was there anything that you specifically remember trying to do to make sure, like, to make me like you in the beginning?
To make you like me?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't even know if I pretended that I cooked or not. But
You did.
I did?
You did. Yeah, well, you're like, I had a meal prep company.
I did.
I'm so independent.
I
I'm
did.
self-sufficient.
You know what? I cook. I didn't say I was a good cook, but I cooked. Okay, I cooked for myself. I cooked for my past relationships and stuff. I didn't say I was a great cook, but when we come in together and you're the better cook, let people who are good at their jobs do their jobs. Like, you're good at cooking. I'm good at cleaning.
Okay. Well, I'm only asking you if there's anything that you remember that like you tried to do specifically to make sure that I like you, because I remember I did something. So I remember Dale and Drew, they were like, yeah, dude, I think she really likes you. I was like, yeah, I think so too. But watch this. And I asked Dale for your address to work, and I sent you a box of like chocolate covered strawberries. I was like, I think she'll appreciate this. And keep in mind, like, sending people chocolate covered strawberries is pretty expensive. It was like $60, and my checks are maybe like $220 at the time. So it was a big investment, but I don't know. It was just one of those things that I wanted to do to make sure that like you knew that I liked you. What was it like for you, like receiving that?
I felt really special. I think, I'm a very Hallmark relationship, like Disney love story kind of thing. And in all those love stories, like, so the guy sends the girl a bouquet of flowers to work, chocolate, and he surprises her with something all the time that's like so unexpected. But it's kind of like the thought that counts. And for you to have gone out of your way to like send me a box of chocolates at work, it's not even at home, it's at work, that made it even more special. Like, you took the time out to find that and like send it. And I don't know, I just felt really, really special. Yeah.
See,
it worked.
That was the goal. Because I grew up watching those Hallmark type things. Not like all the time, but I had seen them. My sisters like watching them. My sister brought me to watch The Notebook in theaters, and I was like, oh, it's a good movie. So I feel like, guys, if you're worried about, you don't know what to do for girls to make them feel special, just watch a romance movie. It's a cheat code. That's exactly what they want. They want the dip, like the shoulder dip and the kiss, or the bouquet of roses on a random Wednesday, and they want you to say because it's Wednesday, and just random shit like that. So if you don't know what to do, do that.
As a romance woman, 10 out of 10. I completely agree.
But yeah, that's pretty much the story of how we got started. All right, so you said something, and we kind of had to talk about this in the car. So you said the person that's good at doing something should be the one to do it, right? So I asked you the other day, do you think, and don't give my answer, do you think relationships should be 50-50?
No,
Why?
because, we all have our days. Like, what if I'm tired one day and I can't give 50? I would hope that my partner is there to give the 80, and I can muster up the 20, But no, I don't think relationships always 50-50. I think it's, let's, you help me, I help you. I'm not going to keep count. We're not going to keep count with each other.
All right, so she basically like half stole my answer.
We just thought the same because we is we.
No, you like to steal my answers.
Whatever.
But yeah, basically what I said is I don't think it should be 50-50 because if you're trying to make something 50-50, that means that you're keeping score. And if you're always keeping score and trying to go tit for tat, like I did this, you need to do this, then that's not really a relationship to me. Like you're trying to keep score, you're trying to one up each other. Like that's not a partnership. So to me, I think like I'm fine with doing anything that she wants me to do outside of giving her a massage at random hours of the night when I'm trying to sleep. But anything outside of that, I'll do it if she asks me to. But I think that we both come from a place of I'm here for you and I'm going to help you do whatever, I always want to make your life as easy as possible. And because I know that you're the same way, I think it's easy for us to have that kind of fluid dynamic where there's some days where, you love cleaning. You actually enjoy cleaning. I don't like cleaning. I'll clean for you, like sometimes,
yeah.
But you don't like make me or expect me to a lot of the time. And then I like cooking, so I do all the cooking. But the fluid part is like some days I don't have time to go and cook our food, so I will ask you to. But I think something that I would have done in the past would be like I would just get mad and be like, why don't you ever cook? Why don't you cook for us? Instead of like I think it's easy to get caught up in your day and think like I'm so stressed, I'm so busy. And in the past I would have been expectant of you to, for whatever reason, know that and take up the slack instead of just saying like, hey, I can't do it today. Can you do it? And I think you've been pretty good at that too. Like if you're pretty stressed out, you'll be like, can you clean that? And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Or like, can you empty out the dishwasher? Can you help me take out the trash? And usually I do everything. I do all the cleaning, the laundry, but there are some days where I can't do it all. I can't.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that relationships should be 50-50. And I do think that if you're good at something, you should be the one to do it. Like why would you hurt your relationship by having the other person do the thing that they're not good at just so that you can have it be 50-50? Because in reality, like if I like cooking and I like food a certain way and you like cleaning a certain way, there's definitely times where you maybe are trying to cook and I'll be like, oh, why'd you do it like that? Or I'll clean something and you'll be like, why the fuck did you fold this like that? You know what I mean? So it's like trying to make it 50-50. I feel like it doesn't work just because the person who's not as good at doing the thing gets shit for not doing it the way that the other person likes it done because they have higher standards because they're better at it. And then that's just more fighting.
Yep. Stick to your strengths.
Yeah. But hopefully, in an ideal situation, I think you would want to have a complementary relationship. We're very lucky that we like different things and we like doing it for each other.
Yeah, I agree.
So after a year and a half, we moved in together. Well, during that year and a half, I graduated from college. So I graduated from Cal in 2018. Or was it 2017?
2018.
It was 2018. Okay, It was 2018. So I graduated from college in 2018. And I remember I bought this nice camera and Mary came. She came for my graduation and I gave her the camera and she didn't record me walking across the stage.
I forgot why. Why didn't I do that?
she's ridiculous because for whatever reason, nobody recorded me going across the stage. I was like, dude, there's like 30 people here and nobody recorded it. You said that you were playing with my nieces and nephews and they locked your phone because of that. But I was like, dude, I gave you a camera and you didn't use the camera. It was a nice camera too. Yeah. So I'm sorry. That was just like a random little quip. But yeah, after a year and a half, we moved in together. We moved to San Diego. And yeah, at the 2-year mark, I proposed. Actually, just under 2 years.
Just under 2 years.
Yeah, because it was like July.
Yeah.
That was a crazy time. Mary was pressuring me to go to Greece, but I was just balls deep in bodybuilding. I couldn't leave. I was just so driven to accomplish my goal. And I was also broke, so I couldn't afford that.
I was willing to pay for it.
Yeah, she was. But like, I don't like taking handouts, so I didn't want you to have to pay for me. So I didn't like that. So that was tough. And I mean, there's one point where you were sending me screenshots of a checkout page, and I was like, oh my God, dude.
I was really ready to pay for it all.
and the funny part was basically, I knew that I was going to propose at some point, and you wouldn't shut up about it. And basically, I remember I went home for a little bit. I don't know why I was home in the Bay Area, and I was talking to my sister, and we were talking about my mom. And my mom has like she has dementia and Parkinson's, so that was kind of earlier on. And I remember she got a caregiver for someone to take care of her. She lives in the Philippines, and I remember talking to my sister, and when they told me that she had like a 24/7 caregiver, she couldn't do certain things. I was like, well, how's she going to come to my wedding? And my sister just kind of looked at me and shrugged. She's like, I don't know. So I kind of knew that if I wanted to try and make that happen, I had to do it fast. And so I definitely did not plan on proposing anytime soon. Just because I was like, this is new, dude. Like, I was still waiting for the shit to drop and, you know, for everything to fall apart. But I remember in that moment, I was like, well, I gotta get married soon then. And my sister's like, yeah. And I remember, like, my sisters have seen me in like probably like lots of relationships. And when I said, I think I'm gonna ask her to marry me, they were like, nice. And I don't think they would have ever said that about anybody else. I don't know. There was just, I mean, different sisters didn't like different girls for whatever reason, but they both liked you. And it was funny because like, I was tripping out. I was waiting for someone to say like, no, it's too soon. And then I was ready to fight about it. Be like, no, it's my life. I'm going to do whatever I want. But they were all like really supportive of it. And I think that actually gave me more confidence that I was making the right decision.
Yeah. I mean, I got along with your sisters. Like, I know they love me. It was fast, but I felt like I already knew because we had leading up to you proposing. Hey, girls, you guys know, when you have like the itch to that, you know, it's ready for the ring time, you know, you're ready, your body's ready, you know. But no, I think we just kind of reached that point in our relationship where I just felt like, yeah, I'm ready to take it to the next step whenever that may be. But like, I felt like I just confirmed it with myself, and I felt like I confirmed it with our relationship, and it felt like we were ready. We were just on the same like path the whole way through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was crazy because in my head, I was like, these are all the normal signs of people to not do something. You know, it's really fast. You know, you're doing it because of something else pushing up your timeline and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we had just moved in together maybe 5 months before, something like that. And so it was like a lot of reasons that most people would say, you're going too fast. But I don't know. I guess everybody can see that we were really good friends, and, you know, we got along really well, and we had a good relationship. And like, I didn't hear one person say it's too fast, or like, are you sure? That nobody second guessed me. I don't know if anybody did for you.
No one second guessed me. I would say I think at the beginning of our relationship, there were a lot of people who second guessed us.
Yeah, I mean, that was more you. Nobody cared for me. Like,
a lot of people
was like,
on
cool.
my side second guessed the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's because you were famous. So Mary's OC famous.
No.
So that's something that I learned when we first started dating. But yeah, do you remember when I proposed, like leading up to it?
Yeah, I mean, well, okay.
You didn't know, right?
No, I had no clue, but we had a conversation about like the next step. I think, and that's where I felt really secure about our decisions and stuff. And I told you that financially it would be on our best interest to maybe not be proposed and not worry about a ring or anything this year, and maybe let's do next year. Like, I wanted to both get our finances in order and make sure we're both in a good place. Like, I don't want you in debt or like have no money because you bought a ring, you know. And we had that conversation where, you know, I'm okay. I mean, as long as like, yes, you were planning to propose in the future, like this is gonna be like, yeah, we're working towards marriage and a lifetime commitment kind of thing, and not just like a, hey, 8 years and then bounce, you know. We were working towards something, and that's where I was like, it's fine. It doesn't have to be now. It can be whenever you're ready. And you agreed with me. You said, yes, next year is great. We'll revisit this conversation next year. Didn't know it was going to be in 2 months.
Yeah. Well, that was a rough time. I mean, I was so engulfed in bodybuilding. It was my whole life. And I didn't find my place, like, work-wise. You know, so dumb. I moved down to San Diego with, like, nothing lined up. I figured I'd figure it out. And I did, you know. But I wouldn't say that I was struggling in the sense that I didn't know how I could ever not pay my bills. Like, you know, I always paid my half of everything that we had. But it was pretty stressful for me because you don't have a job. You know, I was doing like, I had like my sponsorship check, which was like $100 or something like that. And then I had that kind of meal prep business that I was doing on the side because I wasn't confident enough to go all in on coaching yet. So I was like making people food, and I was doing some coaching on the side. I was doing lots of like random odd jobs that kind of came my way. I'd like be a photographer for a little bit. And then I remember I was like, damn, dude, like this really isn't a good time. But I think at the moment that I decided, I was like, I'm going to do this, I had a decent amount saved up. I mean, like for me at the time, I don't know, it was probably like $3,000 or something. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And it was funny because I had been looking at rings a lot on my phone and stuff, and we would be sitting next to each other like this. For you audio listeners, we're like, you know, the two ends of the, not opposite each other on the table, like next to us in a square table. So I was looking at Robbins Brothers or whatever from San Diego, and I remember you leaned in and I dropped my phone. I was like, oh shit, because I didn't want you to see it. And then later that day, you sent me a freaking picture from Robbins Brothers. I was like, what the fuck? She definitely saw.
I had a lot of rings on my feed.
Yeah. So at the time, Mary was just sending me lots of rings, but it was like crazy coincidences because it was that Robbins Brothers one, and then this other time, our old roommate, she sent me a picture, and it was like of a dog with a ring on its nose, or something like that. And I was like, oh nah, Kovu would eat that shit. You know, he can't be the ring bearer. And then I shit you not, 10 minutes later, you sent me a picture of a dog in a ring. You're like, but Kovu would eat that. And I was like, are you in my phone? I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was tripping. Dude, it was so scary. Yeah, but I had enough money, and I went to go get the ring. Billy came with me. It was a much longer ordeal than I thought. I don't know why I thought it would be fast. That'd be dumb because it'd be a dumb purchase. But I bought the ring, and I was like, wow, I really bought it. And you didn't even ask me where I was. I was gone for like 6 hours or something. And I remember we were at the gym, me and Billy were training, and you sent me a picture, or you sent me a link to a Brilliant Earth diamond. For those of you that don't know, it's a lab-grown diamond, so it's significantly cheaper. And I remember looking at it, and I was like, well, too late. I already bought her one. She's going to get what she's going to get. And then I just sent you a text. I was like, that's cool. But then this was the time that you were just gung-ho about going to Greece. And you would not, this is when you were sending me the checkout pages. And I was like, dude, she can't buy this because we're going to have to pay for a wedding and we just can't afford this right now. And the only way I got you to shut up about it is because Billy looked it up and he's like, hey, you know, Greece only has 4 hours of sunlight right now. And then I remember you cried.
I did. I actually cried, and you were like, "Are you really crying about this?" And I was like, I just really wanted to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're the type of person, like, I don't know. I've never met somebody so tunnel visioned as you. Like, if you want something, it's the only thing that you can think about for weeks. And then that means it's the only thing that I hear about for weeks. And then I'll just get beat down. I'll be like, you know, fine, you know. But yeah, that was the only reason that I got you to stop. And I remember you were crying about it and you're so sad. And then in my head, I was like, just wait, dude. Like 6 weeks, it's gonna be nothing. You're gonna be crying for something good. Do you remember the day before I proposed?
Yeah, we had like a gondola ride.
Yeah, because you went to some wedding bazaar and then won a free gondola ride.
Yeah, I won a free gondola ride. So we won a gondola ride, and we were just like, you know, talking, and then I think you were like saying, so if I were to propose like next year, like how did you think I was gonna propose? And I was like, you know, I think you're just gonna like get like a photographer, like a friend or something, to reach out and like say, let's collaborate. And then I'll be like, yeah, okay, let's see some couple pictures, you know? And we'll just, I wouldn't even think anything of it. I'd get dressed up for the photo shoot anyway. We'd take pictures, and that would be how you propose.
Yeah, which is funny because that's exactly what I did. And it was literally, she was describing what was going to happen, and it was scheduled for the next day. Like the very next day, we had a photographer that we had worked with. He had asked us to take pictures before, and he was like, I texted him. I was like, hey man, like how much are you for like, you know, engagement shoots and stuff? And then he's like, is this for you? I was like, it's for me, man. And so Jesse came, and he messaged you. And so I was tripping because you literally described what was happening tomorrow, because you knew that we had a photo shoot, obviously. He messaged you. You said it like you did. And I was like, oh my God, I think she knows.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
Absolutely no clue.
I was tripping because you just described everything that was going to happen tomorrow. And I was like so nervous because I had so much stuff to do. Like the morning of, I was supposed to get a haircut, but I still didn't really have a barbershop to go to in San Diego. And I ended up at this weird place. And this guy, he was like Middle Eastern, and he like didn't speak English, and he fucked up my hair. Remember, he gave me like a bowl cut, basically. He basically just cut it all the way up the side to like here. I said, fade it right here, you know, like fade it. And then he's like, sure. He just shaved it all the way up to here, and then it looked like a bowl cut. I was like, bro, not today. Like I need this today. And then that was stressful. Then Jared and Max flew in, two of my really good friends, and they wanted to meet up at Snooze Eatery. And then I sent them the address to one, and they went to the other one. So I showed up at one, and they were at the other one already. And I was like, bro, you guys didn't go to the one that I sent you. And then I meet up with them. We're hanging out. Drew comes. They all start hanging out. They started drinking, and I had to leave to go pick up my sister. I dropped my sister off at the mall or something so that she could meet up with my cousins. And then I meet up with you. I've been gone like 10 hours. And you didn't ask me where I was. You're like, oh, where'd you go? I was like, the gym.
I believed you.
And I just ran away. So I was like, oh, fuck, dude. And I remember I was trying to really sell the surprise that, because I couldn't tell if you knew or not. And I remember my plan was I was going to play you a video of the highlight moments of our year and a half together. And at the end, it was like something corny, and I was like, hey, look up. And then I took my phone from you, and then I like got down on one knee and everything. I lost my train of thought. But I was trying to confuse you about what was going on. So I remember I was like, hey, where do you want to go to eat tonight after we do the shoot? I even made you call a restaurant and set reservations.
I know. But I was nice. I called back and canceled.
Well, I was trying to sell it. I wanted to make sure that you didn't know. But I had probably 35 people show up. We were at Wind and Sea Beach in San Diego, and we were down below. Everyone else was above. I kind of screwed it up. Like I brought my camera. I don't know why I brought my camera. I think I just needed to hide the box without you being able to see it. And then I was going to text everyone to come back down, but I didn't want them to text me while the video was playing for you. So I tried to do something where they couldn't message me or I wouldn't get notifications. And I completely shut off all texting on my phone. And I kept trying to text and I kept trying to call them. And I was like, holy fuck. And so Jesse's taking pictures with you. He's kind of giving me the eye. He's like, hey, bro, when you going to do this? And I was like, yeah, give me a second. I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And I ran away. I literally ran up the hill. And then I like went up to everybody. I was like, hey, I'm going to give it to her. And the video is like 5 minutes long. Just start walking. And then it was the most awkward 5 minutes. Because I didn't realize how long 5 minutes would be while I was standing there.
I think everyone was saying that they felt like I was watching the video for a really long time.
It was an eternity. It was only 5 minutes though. But you were standing there. I was standing in front of you. We were on the beach and I was trying to think of everything. So I was like looking at the box, making sure that it was the right side up because I didn't want to drop the ring. I was like, that would be fucking horrible. And then we're all just standing there waiting for you. I'm looking up at the top of the cliff. Everyone's staring at me and they're like, what's going on? I was like, it's almost done. It's almost done.
Oh my God.
And then you let out the biggest ugly cry ever.
I know.
It was awesome.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, we'll put that out. But anyways, yeah, that's the story of how we proposed. And then, we got married during 2020 in my backyard. And then we had our real wedding in 2021. And now we're here. So we've been together almost 8 years.
I thought this is up to 7 years now.
Yeah, so 7.5, right?
Oh.
No?
It's going to be 7 in August.
My bad.
But sure,
right.
7, 8, same thing.
Okay, well, anyways, my bad. That's my fault. Usually I get that right. Here's one of the topics that we were talking about in the car, right? Do you think people settle for the love that they can find, or do you think that most people wait for the love that they deserve?
People definitely settle for the love that they can find. I think people tend to jump into a relationship when a couple boxes are checked off, but they'll overlook a lot of the red flags. They're like, it's okay, they're tall, they're whatever, and it checks off the boxes and they look past it. And, this could be easily avoided maybe if they just waited out a little longer and really search for the right one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's interesting because usually when something like that happens, it's like you're in this one relationship and everything like turns to shit over a few things, like, oh, they don't communicate, they're not this, they're not that, like they're not stable, they're not whatever, right? And then when you look for someone new, you're only looking for those three things or whatever it is, the things that you always fought about in your previous relationship that you're hyper fixated on. And then you find that in someone else just to realize that they don't have anything else that you want. They only have those things. Does that ever happen to you?
That's so true. I don't even know why I never thought about that, but I'm like replaying it in my head right now. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, you're right. Like that is what I did. I fixated a lot on like problems with my past relationship. And then moving forward, I was like, these are the things I definitely do not want. And, some of the other toxicity, like other red flags, might be so much worse than the ones that I was trying to avoid.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like that happened to me for sure. Like you're looking for certain things or you want people to talk to you a certain way or, you want them to be into the same music that you're in or just have the same interests. And then you find out that like, just because you're into certain things and you connect on like one or two things, everything else just doesn't match. And you're like, wow, this is also horrible. And you keep going down this cycle. And I just also think that most people don't have that example relationship to look up to kind of see what can be possible. Like before we were together, I didn't think a relationship could be like this. I thought there had to be some kind of fighting and, there had to be things that you compromised on because I didn't think someone could be my best friend like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like a product of your surroundings too, but I would say like looking at my parents, like they're not the best like example. Like, yes, they're it's been 30 plus years since they've been married. And for the most part, they're very happy that they have like their ups and downs. They fight a lot. Like, they have the years where they fight a lot and then they don't, but they're still together. I guess that's what counts.
Yeah. So what do you think about girls that want like that 6 foot tall guy that's rich, that would take care of them, but they're not financially stable. Like, what do you think about the girl that has like the craziest standards for the man that's supposed to date them, but they're not maybe financially stable or anything like that?
So there's nothing wrong with wanting certain things, like 6 foot guy who makes six figures, but you need to bring something to the table too. Like, you can't expect for the guy, you want a guy who does this, this, and this, but then you're kind of like over here, like, I only got my looks to offer, but, I'm looking for this, this, and this. Looks fade, right?
It's funny because we've already had these conversations before, so we're kind of just like going over it again. And so a lot of the stuff that she says is something like I already said, but it's true. Like, to me, life is all value exchanges, right? If I'm giving something to you, I expect something in return. And so if you're expecting like the cream of the crop, the 1% people, if you want someone that's 6 foot, that's a very small percentage of the world, right? Or you want someone that's quote unquote rich, that's going to take care of you, or that, does this and that, right? Like, the crazier your ask, the more value that person has. And if you have nothing to offer them in return, then why would anyone that's smart ever want to wife you up? You know what I mean? So like, if I was, super rich and like that type of person that a girl wanted to get them to or that a girl wanted to marry or to take, for me to take care of them, it's like, if all you have to offer is your looks, that's not a good investment for me, because, I've seen videos of those girls, and I don't want to like stereotype them, but they're like, I'm going to do whatever I want. He's just here to take care of me. Like, if I want to go hang out with my girls and go dance with people at the club, or like do this and that, or, they're not driven. They're not doing anything. They're not keeping the peace at home. They're just fighting. They just got problems all the time. It's like, what are you really bringing to that guy's life? Or if in reverse, like, if you're a guy and you're trying to get a girl like that's super stable and calm and has goals and aspirations, and you're just some guy that fucking eats Hot Pockets and plays video games, like, why would they want you? Like, why would that person want you? You're not bringing anything to the table. And it's like it's this crazy thing where people have these expectations of, I deserve this person. It's like, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people need a reality check and be real, a little bit more realistic on how they are, what they're bringing to the table. If you're not a stable person, you're still like messing around and like you're not even financially stable, why are you expecting to find someone else who is financially stable and has their shit together when you don't?
Yeah, well, I think it goes back to like the 50-50 thing. Like, some people like to cherry pick the things to be 50-50 on, but then the other part, they don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, usually one person is more of the breadwinner in the relationship than the other. You typically don't make the same exact amount of money. And it's like, one person might be like, you might want me to take care of you. And so I'm taking care of you. That's a big part of it. But then you cast that aside and you say, okay, well, everything else after that, we have to go 50-50. It's like, all right, but this is not 50-50, right? Like, you have to hold up your end of the bargain too. Like, you got to do something to make it worth it for you to have me to have you around, other than you're pretty. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I don't think a lot of people think about that. Like, I've had it in a past relationship where I'm doing all this stuff. I'm the one that actually works. I'm the one that goes grocery shopping, goes cooking, does all of these chores and whatever. And then when I come home, she was like, everything has to be 50-50 in here. Like, you got to clean half the time. I got to clean half the time. And I was like, you're at home all day. You work 2 nights a week for 3 hours. You have nothing else to do. I don't understand why you can't just do some of the stuff. Like, and I'm already taking care of a majority of the things, and then it was just like this huge fight.
Yeah. And it just builds up resentment, and it's hard to go back from that.
Yeah. Well, the dumbest thing, I mean, I've told you this before, was like, so when I lived in Hawaii, we lived in this apartment, had no AC. I didn't have a car. I went to school full time. I worked almost full time, like 36 hours a week or whatever. I couldn't work full time because they didn't want to give me insurance benefits. And so I would walk to the grocery store, get the groceries, and I'd walk 1.5 miles home with all the groceries in my hand. Then I would be the one to cook and everything too. And I remember I was getting so frustrated because I was like, dude, can you just help me and go to the grocery store? Or can you just help me and cook and do something? And then it was like I was the bad guy because I asked for that. But then she wanted like to split, like, you need to clean half the house, or you need to clean this and do that, and like just telling me stuff to do. I'm like, but you don't do anything all day, bro. You're here, you're not even doing anything. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I remember it got so bad one time, like she tried to penny pinch me, and she's like, I don't want to pay for half the groceries. I don't even eat half of it. You eat most of it. And I was like, what the I was like, all right, you know what? How about this? And this was like me, like petty young me. I was like, all right, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. How about you go to the grocery store, I go to the grocery store. I get everything that I want, you get everything that you want. You do it by yourself. I was like, I want you to see how much I actually have to do all the things that like you don't even think twice about. And so one day I was at work. I mean, it's nothing new to me. I already go to the grocery store. I already do that. And I was at work, and she texted me and said, hey, can I buy some chicken breast off you? I was like, what? Right. And I just remember I was like, it's fine. You don't have to pay me, but I hope you hear how dumb that sounds. Like, I hope you can appreciate the things that I do now. And like, you're not bringing anything else to the table. Like, you want it to be 50-50, but it's like, it's not 50-50. Like, if we're being honest, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it's just crazy. Like, people expect that 50-50, or like they expect that they can have these things without giving something in return. Like, everything's a value exchange.
I agree. Well, I mean, let me ask you this. What did you feel that I brought to the table for our relationship?
Okay, before I move on to that, and I'm not saying you have to bring something financially, but you can bring what I'm about to say, coming up in a second. But, well, I mean, for you, I didn't want you to take care of me. I didn't need you to take care of me, even though I was like making less money because I was at school all the time, and I was commuting. So I was like, all my days were packed. But all I needed from you was just a partner. I just wanted someone that was going to be there for me, that was going to do life with me. That's all I ever really wanted. Just like someone that was going to do life with me, that would make everything more fun. Someone to have experiences with, because I tend to not like doing things by myself, or like someone that can make me laugh and brighten up my day. Someone that, I can just talk to, someone that can make me feel secure. Like I said before, I was very insecure before I met you, or like, before the time that I met you. And so I was like learning from all that. And I remember I was trying to even change my ways and kind of like fix some mistakes that I knew that I was making before, being like overbearing and insecure and like kind of controlling. And the one time that I drove down to see you, I remember you were super cool, and you got a comp table at a club because you're Maryish. And I remember it was all of your friends, and I was always near you, and I was like, I don't want to be the smothering guy, whatever, right? And so I purposely walked away from the table. I just walked like just far enough so that I was like not next to you, and I walked probably 15 steps away from the table, so I was not in the table anymore. And I looked back, and I was just watching you. And I was just watching you have fun. And I was trying to like be in that mode where I was like, I enjoy watching you have fun because I care about you and I want you to be happy, whether that's with or without me. So I want to see you have fun with your friends. And I'll never forget, I was gone maybe like 20 seconds. And I'm watching you, you pull out your phone, and I was like, oh, what's she doing? She's on her phone. And you text me, and you go, where are you? I miss you. I was like, I haven't even been gone that long. But it was just like, those are the types of things that I wanted. Like, I wanted to just feel secure. I wanted to feel like you weren't going to cheat on me. Like, we could just have a good time. We didn't have to walk on eggshells. That was like one thing that I really hated, was being in a space together with someone who's supposed to be your partner, and you're walking on eggshells because you don't want to start a fight.
Yeah.
And so I think that most of all, that was kind of the feeling that you gave me, was just like the confidence and security that we could just be ourselves and just have fun, and it was going to be all right. Like, it wasn't like we're going to start a fight any second.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of fun. I feel like, even aside from just being in a relationship, I would say like you're my best friend. Like, we're not always like lovey-dovey. And I feel like
We're
it's
usually not, actually.
we're not, but I like that because sometimes we are, but then sometimes we're not, and then I feel like that's kind of like where we're like best friends. We just like cracking jokes, making fun of each other, and like just we just have so much fun doing things together.
Yeah. So what do you think I brought to the table?
I mean, same thing, sense of security, and I guess like I wanted to feel like I was being taken care of, and this is not about the money at all. I mean, shit, I stuck with you with no AC, and been through it all without the money. It was never about any money. Like being taken care of, it can mean like a variety of different things. And I think even in my past relationship, I always felt like I wanted to take care of my significant other. And at some point leading up to meeting you, I have figured out that I liked taking care of myself and I was fully capable of taking care of myself. And I would love to help take care of like my significant other too, And it's not financially, it's like, like just being like a wifey in a sense, right? But I also want to be taken care of. Fully capable of, being independent, but I like to feel like I was taken care of. And I think that's where, you came in and you provided me with that sense of security and you made me feel like, I was protected, I was taken care of. You always like made sure that every time you prepped our foods, you always prepped mine first. You always put my feelings first. You always put me first on everything. And, I didn't ask that. You just have always done that without me ever saying anything. And I felt like I saw that, I've seen it through and I realized like, wow, this guy just really he really just likes taking care of me mentally, like physically, and that's all I wanted. And then obviously someone who is secure, who isn't jealous, trusts me that, we both make good decisions together and, there's no jealousy or no insecurity.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that we actually have never had, which is also cool. One thing that I forgot to mention is that you were appreciative. Like if I did something for you, you appreciated it. And I mean, it's not like you never told me like some of the stuff you just said, but it's like, if I'm going to do something for you, yes, I'm doing it for you and I want to, but at least acknowledge the fact that I did it. You know what I mean? Like be a little bit appreciative. Like don't be entitled to the fact that I'm going to take care of you, because then it takes away like the fun of it. You know what I mean? So like that was like another thing. And I think just the level that you cared about me just showed me like more and more and more. Like you would come out to see me, because I was in school, especially in 2019. That's when I knew, because that's when I proposed, because that was a hard year for me. Like mentally, physically, everything, right? Like, that was when I did 4 shows in 5 weeks and I was dying that whole time. And I remember you were so supportive about it and you cared about what I was doing. And it was hard because I was sitting there and I was like having a hard time doing it because I felt like I wasn't being good to you, but I was already so deep in it that like I couldn't back out anymore. And, like I'd already signed up for all the shows and bought the tickets and all this stuff. And I remember, there was a lot of times where I was like, fuck, dude, this sucks. Like I'm hurting. And, you just kept telling me to keep going. You're like, I believe in you. You could do it. And, like I've never had somebody like do that and like put me and my goals, like not that I'm not super like needy like that or anything, but you did put me in front so that I could chase my goals and my dreams. And knowing that was like, man, I really love this girl. And I wanted to do something for you and I do stuff. And it was just so hard for me to do because one, I was like kind of broke. And then two, I was like hurting, man. I couldn't even get out of my chair. I had to wait. From the time that I knew that I had to take a piss and go to the bathroom, it took me 30 minutes to get out of my chair. It was so hard. And I remember I wanted to keep trying being normal for you and keep doing things that you wanted to do, which is why like the movies was one of the only things that we could do because I didn't have to move. But I remember, and I'm pretty sure you know what I'm going to say. Like one time you said you're going to go to the mall, and I asked you if you wanted me to go with you, and you just said no. And I was like, wow.
Well, you move so slow. And honestly, it hurts. Like when you love someone and then you see someone like hurting, just like visibly, just in pain, just tired, lack of sleep, whatever. You literally had a look of pain on your face everywhere you went. And we spent a lot of time at home together. So watching you in pain together at home, fine. Well, at least we're at home, right? But now I want to go out. And when I was like, at some point, I was like, I want to go out. I want to like just have fun, like do something else. And I think at one point you were going out with me, but every time you were going out with me, I'm like having fun. I turn around, I look at you, and then you're like the face of misery. You're just like, I don't want to be here right now. But you're like, nope, I'm fine. I'm fine. I could be here. But I'm just like, I know you're lying. And so it was getting so hard to hang out with you in public because I knew that you were trying so hard for me, but I didn't want you to force yourself to be. I'd rather, it would make me feel better if you were just at home resting.
Yeah. I think part of the fact that it hurt was that I knew you didn't do it in any sort of mean way. You were just like, you'd probably be better off just sitting at home because you look like you're hurting, like you're no fun right now. And I was like, damn, dude, like I'm not, it felt like, even though I'm saying like, relationships are not 50-50, I didn't feel like I was holding up my end of the bargain. And there's going to be times like that, but it just felt like that was forever in the moment. Like for me, it was really hard. So that happened. I remember Kovu didn't not like me, but he didn't like me at the time. Like he was so attached to you. And I was like, wow, everything is just horrible right now. Like I feel horrible. I'm not doing well. I feel like I'm not taking care of you. I'm not taking care of my dog. And it was, it was a big struggle at that time.
I think that year was just hard on you as an individual. I mean, it was hard on me too. I think at that time, rent in San Diego is very expensive. Everything was really expensive. And I think that's just like us moving out. And I felt like I was kind of like, living paycheck to paycheck too. And like, with all the expenses and then it was just hard on our relationship too, because like obviously financial issues and then like you prepping. And I think just like, bickering does happen, and it does happen. I think with that, like we were still able to like, but I think like what carried us through was that like you knew I cared and I knew that you cared. It was just very hard. And I think we had to like, that was when it really pushed us to really make like a valiant effort into like really trying to continue and build this relationship and get through this little obstacle in time. And I mean, I say we did a pretty good job.
Yeah. I mean, it was actually during those times before I had the conversation with my sister about, proposing and stuff like that. Like, I just remember there's like a few times where you were like, oh, just keep going. I believe in you. You're already here. Even though I was telling you like, I'm sorry, like I know this is shitty and all that stuff. And I remember when you gave me that kind of support, I sat there and I probably didn't have any expression on my face, but I was like, I'm going to marry that girl. Because I was like, dude, she's so nice. She's caring. She supports me like wholeheartedly, like selflessly supported me, even when it was at a detriment to her. And I was like, dude, if you can be here now, you could be here through anything. Not that it was like the worst thing in the world, but it was a tough time.
It was a tough time.
As far as like, we hadn't even been together for 2 years, and it was already like, I was like a zombie,
Yeah. And I think I'm sure a lot of friends have talked to me about this before, and I always joke around saying I was pretty much a single dog mom the whole year. And it's true. I single-handedly raised Kovu, which is why he was more attached to me at the time, and like he didn't even want to hang out with AJ. I started to go to the movies by myself, and I took our dog with us because I didn't even want to, like, I was like doing my own thing. I went to the mall with my dog, went to the gym with my dog, movies, went to go lunch with my dog. Like at that point, that dog was like my partner. And And, it was hard. It was really hard because, like, I did feel that even though I was urging you to chase your goals, I like didn't have my partner to do things with me, do a lot of things with me. Like, I ended up doing a lot of things by myself, which is why I found comfort in getting a dog. But it was hard, but I just never felt like I was in a place to ever sell you short on going to get your goals, especially when I felt like you could reach those goals. And I always felt like you always had the will to do it. And I felt like you always, like, you put so much effort into, like, what you want to do. And I just felt like eventually it's going to have to pay off, even though this is, like, the hardest time right now. But I felt like I'm glad we pushed through. Like, I felt like it really did pay off in one way or another, like, and it helped build the foundation where we are today.
Yeah. I mean, I can't explain how hard that time was. Just, not being who I wanted to be, but also I was like, I'm so close. Like, I know that I could do it, but also it wasn't happening either. So it was just all kinds of frustration and feeling dead. But we stuck it through, and now you have 2 rings. So
I deserved it.
Okay, here's a topic that you wanted to talk about, which was relationship security and having a girls' night, guys' night. That's something that we implemented very early on, which I don't know, you talk about it.
Well, I mean, just that goes back to independence. Like, at the beginning, leading up to a relationship, I found my independence. I loved hanging out with my friends. Like, I wanted to continue to do my own things. And even going back to, like, the whole proposal story, like, I wanted to go to Greece. I was willing to pay for it, like, for the both of us to go. Like, I just wanted to go. And, it wasn't more of like a selfish thing. It was just kind of like, I'm capable. I'm capable of taking care of myself, and I'm capable of also taking care of my significant other to whatever extent. We're not freaking rich, but, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to maintain that type of independence. I never want to lose that. And I think at the beginning of the relationship, I think long distance also helped with this, but I wanted to make sure, like, are you cool with me having a girls' night? I want to keep having my girls' night. I like going out with my girlfriends. We're not like running the town at night and getting shit faced, but like I love hanging out with my girlfriends. Like, there's just stuff that you talk about with your girls that you can't talk about with girls and guys or just guys. And I wanted to make sure, since I have that, like, I wanted to make sure he kept that friendship. I never want him to be getting into a relationship and then forgetting about all his friends. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for him. Like, I want us to have a life outside of our relationship. And then, come back and choose to be together. So I was like, have your boys' night. Please, go. Have fun. Fly out somewhere. Go do something. Go to Vegas. Have fun. I trust you. Just don't do anything stupid,
Yeah. Well, it was funny because, I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I think long distance played a huge part in that, just because, like I said, I was insecure before. So maybe in the past I would have been like, no, that's not okay. But that's also because those are the rules that we established early on. And then it was hard because we grew up and then things were different. We changed. And I think with you, we set that early. I was like, we have to be able to do this. Not because I think I was hanging out with the boys a little bit more when we didn't live together yet. But it was just like, we're long distance. You have to be able to hang out with your friends. Like, I can't make you stay at home all day and only talk to me. That doesn't make any sense. That's not a good relationship. And I think even when you're insecure, that's the right answer, but you still can't handle it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember like very early on, it was so funny, I think, because I didn't party a lot ever in my life. Like, maybe when we met was like the most that I ever partied. And we were both going out that night and half of my friends hadn't even met you yet. And I think we FaceTimed each other, and we were both like about to go out, and we were all FaceTiming each other. And they were all like, "Mary, take a shot with us." And then we were taking shots with you online, or over FaceTime and stuff. But I thought it was cool because we could just be chill about it. And that's not something I ever had before, because like it was always like, no, you can't do that. But it goes back to the security that I felt like you brought me, because of those moments, like when we were at the club and I walked away and you texted me and said I miss you. Like, you were thinking of me when I was trying to give you space to do whatever you wanted, and you were still like coming to me, right? Like, you weren't like, never caught a whiff of you trying to do anything weird. And so I was like, all right, well, it should be fine. Like, I felt like you only had eyes for me, so I was like, okay, it's cool. And I think, I mean, all my friends know I'm not like that. Like, I would never do anything like that. That's one of the first things that, if I am on a boys trip, like, one of the first things I do if I'm talking to anybody, I'm like, yeah, I'm married,
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of goes like that way, like for me too. Like, I think there's this saying where like, if, like let's say like I went out and you're just like, haha, like what kind of shit did you talk about me, or like, were you looking at guys or whatever? Not you, you would never say that, but like in the past. And then, like literally at the time I was probably like, all I was just drunk and talking about how much I love you. But then like the ex would never believe that. But, in our case, like whenever I would go out and you're just kind of like, she's probably just, all she does is just talk about how happy she is in our relationship. And if not, she's just talking about random shit, like, and I don't know. I think it's just, you trust me that I'm not going to do anything that crosses any boundaries or put myself in a position to, cross any boundaries that are not meant to cross. Like, we've already established that at the very beginning of the relationship, like, what is cheating, what's not okay, like, and like everything was laid out on the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think just also us going out together, because like obviously you're a beautiful girl, like everybody thinks that, and there's guys that want to hit on you. And when we were at the club, I remember you'd be like, oh my God, there's this guy hitting on me. And when I saw that the first few times, I was like, oh wow, she's just like, she doesn't even entertain it. And then it became really funny to me, because if I walked away from you for just a little bit, somebody would come up to you. And there would be times where a guy would come up to you and try talking to you, and I'd look at them and I'd be like, that dude's kind of a weirdo. I was like, I mean, like, not that I was worried at all, but I wouldn't be worried about this guy. And you would just look at me, and I would walk further away, and I would just watch, and I'd like laugh. I'd be like, ha ha ha, she's probably in such an awkward situation right now.
I mean, for the most part, I can handle myself, and you know that. And I think, and I feel like if I feel like I'm ever in a position where I can't handle it, I will always text you like, can you come help me? I'll always do that. But for the most part, I feel like I'm pretty solid on putting my foot down.
Yeah, you're pretty good. And that's why it's like not a big deal to me. Here's a question for you. I kind of already gave my answer, but how did you know that I was the one?
I didn't. I'm just kidding.
Still thinking about it?
I'm still thinking about it to this day. Well, I think it's like a more of like a realization of the moment, I guess. I remember I was in NorCal. I was in the Bay staying at your sister's place, and we were both prepping. And you were like prepping our food and everything. And when you were cooking, you prepped all my meals first. You cooked all my meals first, and you left your meals last. And I think we were kind of running short on time that day, and you were not really quite done prepping your food, but all mine were like done and prepped. And I was just like, what? Like, why didn't you just do like half? Or I don't know. Like, I felt like there was better ways to like have both of us have our food rather than like I have mine and you have none, But I was just like, you really do like, you always put me first. And that kind of like is one of those like flashing moments where like all these scenes come in my head where like you put me first, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, and I was like, he really loves me. And yeah, and I was just like, I think he's the one. Like, he just puts me first. I feel really good. I feel really happy. I feel very confident. And I feel like that's when I knew.
when I cooked for you?
Yes. Well, if you want to put it plainly that way.
Yeah, well, in my defense, it was just like, I really care about bodybuilding and I really care about you. And I know what it takes to be prepared and make sure that you have food. And in my head, it was more like, I know that you need all of your food, because if you don't have your food and then you get hungry, then it's not good. Like, you need other things. Like, you need to be more prepared when you walk out. And so it was like, to me, it was like, well, okay, well, I got to make sure that she's prepared because she's number one. And then I'll be able to handle anything that comes my way. If I get stuck not being able to eat for 8 hours or whatever it is, like, I can tough it out. I know that I'll be fine. But I was like, I want to make sure that you're taken care of, like, because you also get a little bit more hangry than I do. So
I'm glad you know that.
all right, last two things. There's a quote that I always say, and I don't even know where I got it from. I don't know if I made it up or not, but if you don't grow together, you grow apart. Do you remember when I said it to you the first time?
I don't even remember the first time, because you said that so many times throughout our relationship.
Yeah.
And I agree. And I feel like that's why we always talk and we always want to communicate, because I just never want to one day, like, you know, we're always changing. Always. We're always changing as an individual and as a couple, but like, I never want to, like, one day wake up and feel like a different person. I feel like I'm going down a new path and never talk to you about it, and realizing that I've strayed so far away from our relationship path that there's no turning back. And I always want to make sure that, you know, it doesn't even have to be like we like the same things, but like the path in life that we're going down, it needs to be the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I got that quote from, but to me, it's just like, I've seen it happen in previous relationships. Like, we're really good in the beginning, and then all of a sudden we grow into different people. We're completely different. We have different interests. We act a little bit different, and then it's like, you know, it doesn't work out, right? And then so, like, with you, I was like, I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Like, if we're going to grow, and we're going to grow up, because we were still young, we were 25, and I was like, if we're going to grow together, like, if we want to make this last, as we're planning our future, the future has to be planned with each other in mind. Like, it has to be something that we're both working towards, because if we're not working towards the same goal, you might want to go one way and I'm going the other way. And then before we figure it out, we're two totally different people again. And then now it's all gone. And I think it's something that's been, I don't know, I think it's worked out pretty well in my favor since I said it. And the more I say it and the more I live it, I'm like, it makes so much sense, you know, because even now, like, from when we first started dating, you were really into bodybuilding too. Like, you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Now you don't want to bodybuild at all, right? Like, it's a struggle to get you to even go to the gym. And it's like, if the only thing that we had connected on was bodybuilding, we would have nothing now. Mm-hmm. And we communicated that we just have a goal of getting to a certain life and doing certain things together, like going to Europe and, you know, having a house or moving to Texas and then back to California or whatever, you know, whatever it is. Like, I think both of our goals always are keep each other in mind.
Yes, there's always room for each other, no matter what our goals are.
Yeah, well, it's never, I think a good thing for us is that it's never been like, hey, I want to do this, come along. You know, it's also like, hey, I want to do this, you also want to do this. How does this create an ecosystem of our own life? You know what I mean? Like, how does this create this new lifestyle of where we're going, you know? Because, you know, it was weird when you wanted to stop bodybuilding, because I was like, okay, this is what we bonded on in the beginning. You know, we always used to walk down every aisle in the grocery store together, and then all of a sudden you didn't want to go to the gym, you didn't want to do this, and I was still in it. And it was a weird switch for me, but that wasn't kind of like the long-term goal. So it was just like, we had to adjust the vision to where we were both going to go. And I think it worked out because we're both pretty chill. Like, you're very accepting of the things that I want to do, and I'm pretty accepting of the things that you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, you don't force me to go to the gym, but you just ask. Sometimes I say yes.
No.
A lot of times I say no.
I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I don't care. Like, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. If you feel good about the way that you are, like, I'm perfectly fine with the way that you are. Like, I love you. So it's like, it doesn't matter. But if I know that you're unhappy with something and you're not doing something about it, I will push you to do the thing that you know that you need to do, you know?
Yeah.
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 So I want to ask you one last question. if you could change one thing about me, what would you change?
You already changed it. It's your gap. I'm just kidding.
Holy shit.
You didn't see that one coming?
No, I didn't. Oh my God. Shots
That
fired.
was too good.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow. I'm so offended.
I felt like it was like such like a personality thing for a while, so I'm a little sad that it's gone. But
Yeah, I mean, that's why I had a hard time letting it go. It was just,
yeah, but yeah, I like straight teeth. I love, I like teeth. Like I like white and straight teeth. So maybe I was a dentist in my past life, but if I can change one thing about you, less lazy.
what the?
I feel like a lot of people don't see this, but realistically at home, I live with him, so I see it. He's lazy for the most part. And he's like, doesn't want to get up and do a lot of things. But that doesn't mean that you're not smart. There's just a lot of times where I feel like you could have gotten the ball rolling faster because you have so many ideas. You have great ideas. You have so many plans, and you are you think so well. But sometimes you just sit there and you're just like, oh, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. Or like you're like, I'll do tomorrow. Oh, that's your famous line. I'll do it later. I'll do it in an hour, AKA never. But that is literally. I feel like that's like the biggest trait that I'm like, you won't do it later.
But I do. Most of the time I do.
You forget, and then I do it, and then I get mad. But I mean, it's at this point where I've accepted it. I'm fine with it. I know you mean well. I know that you're only lazy sometimes, and you have good intentions. And when you get things done, like you really get them done, So I've accepted that for who you are. I'm okay with it.
I think I regret asking the question. Oh God. All right. Well, is there anything, any parting gifts that you want to leave the audience with? For the listener?
Just, keep growing together with your partner and communicate. I feel like that's so repetitive. Everyone always says communication is key. But really though, if you keep bottling yourself up and you don't tell the other person what you're thinking, no one's going to read your mind. No one's going to read your facial expressions. Just communicate, just talk to each other. A lot of relationship problems that I have listened to, and my answer or my advice is always, did you talk to her? Did you talk to him? What did he think about that? What did she say about that? They never talk to the other person. So it's always just like you bottling up, creating this whole scenario in your head, and you never talk to your significant other. And I feel like that could have been so easily avoided, and that resentment would have never built up had you already spoken up about it.
Yeah. My parting gift is that I'm not a relationship guru. I happen to be in one that's pretty decent, but don't settle for something that that you are not worth. Things that are basic, like someone giving you respect or someone caring about you, someone putting you first, at least some of the time. And truly caring about you and your happiness and, things like that. Don't settle for something less than that, someone that's not going to respect you. But on the flip side, make sure that you are someone that is worthy of deserving that person as well. Like if you aren't working on yourself and becoming someone that has value to give to somebody else, whether it's, financially or giving that security, giving the, just the good times and, whatever it is, that peace at home, build yourself up to be in a place to where you can give that. And I mean, if you do those two things, it might take a long time, but you'll probably be in a much better relationship. I'm not a relationship guru. I'm just a bodybuilder and a fitness coach. And if you're looking to sign up for my program, you can go to teamlionheart.com/apply. I'm just kidding. But no, but really, if you want to. But I don't know if you enjoyed the episode. It was definitely a different one. Usually I'm talking about other stuff, but I think it's fun. If you liked it, leave a review, I guess.
Let us know. Tell them that you want me to come back.
Yeah. Leave a review. Send me a DM on Instagram at Lionhearted_AJ. The link is below. And if you have topics that you want to hear Mary's opinion on, or you want to have us battle out certain topics, 'cause we can, you could let us know that too. But until next time, thanks for listening.